The story kicks off with Hachi, a nerdy college student who loves gaming but struggles with low self-confidence. His nervousness and awkwardness make him an easy target for ridicule among his campus friends. On top of that, Hachi's body sweats uncontrollably whenever he gets nervous, giving his friends even more reason to tease him. After a long gaming session with his friends, Hachi heads out, accompanied by his best friend Yanagi. Yanagi is the one person who always has Hachi's back, offering the support he needs to stay calm and face the teasing without cracking. Later, Hachi gets a call from Yanagi, who tells him that a student named Koki has gone missing. The last place Koki was seen? The campus library. No one's found him yet, and the police are investigating. Yanagi shows Hachi a photo Koki posted on his social media just before disappearing. The picture has a strange ritual spell written in it, along with an image of a woman with magical powers. Yanagi explains that the ritual is said to help the user find a girlfriend. That night, feeling fed up with being single, Hachi decides to try the ritual. He recites the spell, adding his own blood to the mix, hoping it will work. Once he finishes, he sits there waiting. But after a few minutes, he thinks it's a bust and decides to go to bed. The next day, Hachi is on campus when a portal suddenly opens in front of him. A girl steps out, dressed in medieval Japanese armor and carrying a sword. She introduces herself as Izzy. Hachi quickly realizes that Izzy's appearance is tied to the spell and ritual he performed the night before. But things take an unexpected turn when Izzy asks to be intimate with him. She says that without this, she will vanish from the world. Confused, Hachi bolts, rushing home to escape the bizarre request. But just as he settles into his room, Izzy appears again, having used her teleportation ability. She explains that the spell worked, unsealing her from another world, which is how she ended up in Hachi's. Despite her explanation, Hachi continues to refuse her request. Later, Hachi meets Yanagi and tries to explain the situation, but Izzy shows up once again. Yanagi quickly suspects she's the magical girl from the image Koki posted online. As time goes on, Izzy grows frustrated with Hachi's constant rejection. Desperate, she accepts an invitation to a party from Hachi's mischievous friend, Masato, hoping to find a man who will fulfill her request. Sometime later, Izzy finally shows up at Masato's party, which is actually hosted by Hayato, Masato's wealthy cousin. Hachi, still worried about Izzy, decides to go, even though Masato strongly objects to his presence. Meanwhile, Yanagi digs into the truth behind the magical girl who looks like Izzy. His search leads to a shocking discovery. Izzy is a yokai, a supernatural fox demon from ancient times. Fox demons always seek intimacy with the man who summons them to regain their strength. But when a man becomes close to one, they unknowingly form a dangerous bond. This bond drains the man's spiritual power, and he must stay near the fox demon or risk losing his life. Yanagi, alarmed by this revelation, rushes to Masato's party to warn Hachi. But when he arrives, he learns Hachi has already had an intimate encounter with Izzy at his house. After hearing this, Hachi and Yanagi begin searching for Izzy in the midst of the party. Meanwhile, Izzy has her own plans. She's determined to kill Hayato, a descendant of the Ippongi clan, the very clan that once guarded her seal. To Izzy, the Seal Guardians are her greatest enemies from her original world, and she will stop at nothing to get revenge. Shortly after that, Hachi and Yanagi finally find Izzy, but they're stunned to see that Izzy has already killed Hayato by beheading him. Without wasting a moment, Izzy urges them to escape through a portal. Later, Detective Inukai, Hachi's father, arrives at the crime scene accompanied by his subordinate, Suzuki. They both stare at Hayato's blood-frozen, headless body. Suzuki, surprised by the grisly sight, suggests the murder might be linked to magic. Inukai brushes off the idea, focusing on a more scientific explanation. While the investigation continues, a man named Tenkai, disguised as a forensic officer, shows up. He's actually a hunter of yokai, like Izzy. Using his magical abilities, Tenkai quickly uncovers that Izzy is responsible for Hayato's death and is now on a mission to track him down. Back at Hachi's place, Izzy takes Hachi and Yanagi from Hayato's room to his own. Yanagi, terrified by Izzy's dangerous nature, decides to leave. Before she goes, she whispers to Hachi, urging him to tell his father to capture Izzy. But Izzy, with senses far beyond those of regular humans, hears the whisper and reacts. He threatens Hachi, warning him not to involve his father. In a tense moment, Hachi is forced to hide Hayato's head in his room's fridge to keep Izzy calm. He also tries to keep Izzy hidden from his family, desperate to prevent things from spiraling further out of control. The next morning, Hachi woke up after another intense night with Izzy, the second time they'd shared such a moment. Izzy, however, was already asserting that their bond was more than physical, it was a soul-body connection. Hachi didn't fully understand what that meant yet. Later, as they were out together, Hachi tried to pull away from Izzy, fearing her cold, ruthless nature. But Izzy stopped him, warning him that their connection wasn't something he could escape. If Hachi were to die, she would die with him. And if she lost her life, Hachi would go with her. Realizing how serious this bond was, Hachi knew he couldn't back away from Izzy now. A while later, Hachi handed Izzy a phone, a way to keep their connection alive from a distance. Izzy left, telling him she was preparing for their engagement ceremony. Hachi, however, had other plans. He quickly called Yonagi, desperate to find a way to break free from Izzy. Together, they learned about a demon-banishing ritual from Marisa, a staff member at the campus. That night, they set up the ritual in an empty school building. When Izzy arrived, Hachi let her perform the engagement ceremony, giving her what she wanted. But as soon as it was done, Hachi had Yonagi recite the banishment spell, hoping to send Izzy back to her world. But it didn't work. Instead, Izzy went berserk, attacking Yonagi. In a split second, Hachi knew what he had to do. To save Yonagi, he had to accept the bond. He promised to stop fighting it, no matter how cursed it felt. Izzy, hearing this, forgave Yonagi, but her heart still burned with Hachi's betrayal. She left, leaving Hachi to face the consequences of his mistake. From that day on, Hachi knew there was no turning back. He had to accept Izzy, his yokai girlfriend, soul and body. After Izzy left Hachi, Tenkai quickly tracked her down and captured her with a mix of magic and sword skills. Tenkai attempted to banish Izzy from the human world, but Izzy wasn't going down that easily. A fierce battle broke out between them. Izzy couldn't understand why Tenkai was still alive because she'd already killed him in her original world. Tenkai then revealed a necklace that absorbed yokai powers. Even though Izzy was wounded by Tenkai's sword, she managed to grab the necklace and escape to Hachi's room. Once there, Izzy secretly tried to heal her wound while talking with Hachi. It was a tense moment, but Hachi took the chance to apologize and try to repair their relationship, hoping she could forgive him for his earlier attempt to banish her. The next day, Izzy reluctantly agreed to Hachi's request to stay out of sight, not wanting his family to find out she was there. She also agreed to try blending in with humans, though she wasn't too thrilled about it. But when Hachi asked her to stop killing humans, Izzy flat out refused, almost as if she had a solid reason she wasn't ready to explain. The tension between them grew, and Hachi, desperate to calm her down, decided to buy her ice cream. As Izzy enjoyed the ice cream, something unexpected happened. The sword wound Tenkai had given her flared up, and she suddenly felt weak. Determined to help, Hachi took Izzy to a pure spring hidden by a waterfall near a temple in his town. The magical water worked wonders, and to Izzy's relief, the wound was completely healed. In that moment, Hachi made a decision. He accepted Izzy as his girlfriend, promising her she could trust him. Unlike the evil humans she had encountered, he wasn't like them. The scene shifts to Tenkai, a sorcerer with one goal: to rid the human world of yokai. He's the one responsible for the kidnapping and death of Koki, the missing student from Hachi's campus. Using his dark magic, Tenkai resurrected Koki, turning him into a living corpse bound to his will. Ironically, Tenkai himself is no different. He's a living corpse too. Meanwhile, Detective Inukai digs deeper into Hayato's murder case. His first stop is Takeru's company, where he grills the grieving father. During the interrogation, Inukai learns Takeru has been battling illness and mental strain for years, all thanks to his son's condition. Despite what the rumors say, Takeru genuinely cared about Hayato. To protect him, he deliberately kept his son away from the dangerous life of the Ippongi clan. Before Inukai could get the full story, Takeru was cut off by his lawyer, Renjo, who kicked the detective out. But it's clear that Takeru's silence may have something to do with guarding the yokai seal. Hachi and Izzy finally found a new place for Izzy to call home. But it wasn't just a safe spot. Izzy had other plans. She used it to store Hayato's head, which she'd decapitated earlier. Why? Because Hayato was a descendant of the Ippongi clan guardians. Hachi, confused and searching for answers, pressed Izzy. Finally, she showed him her memories, unveiling the story behind her actions. Long ago, humans and yokai lived in harmony. But things took a dark turn when humans betrayed and slaughtered many yokai. 5 powerful human clans, including the Ipongi clan, banded together to trap the yokai, including Izzy, in a world of darkness. But Hachi's ritual had shattered the dark prison, bringing Izzy into the human world. Now, to break the seal completely and free all the yokai, Izzy needed to perform a ritual that required the heads of 5 humans from the seal-guarding clans. She also revealed that she'd been trapped in the dark world for 500 years until Hachi freed her. Sometime later, Renjo secretly met with Tenkai, revealing a shocking truth that Tenkai had been working as Renjo's emissary all along. Renjo also showed he had the power to control Tenkai's body. At the end of the meeting, Tenkai swore to eliminate Izzy. Following his orders, Koki, now a zombie under Tenkai's control, set out to trap Izzy. Meanwhile, Izzy told Hachi about an artifact called Magatama, which identifies the yokai seal guardians and their descendants. After taking Hayato's head, Izzy needed 4 more heads from the descendants of the seal guarding clans to complete the yokai liberation ritual. To speed up the hunt, Izzy decided to find the Magatama. When Hachi showed Izzy a picture of the artifact, he immediately recognized it and told her it was kept in the campus exhibition room. Izzy then went alone to meet Hachi's professor, Sawada, to get more information. Sawada revealed the Magatama had been moved and that the owner's identity was unknown. Izzy considered killing Sawada for being unhelpful, but then remembered Hachi's request not to harm humans. Instead, Izzy attacked Sawada's psyche, instilling fear of the yokai in him. At the same time, Hachi received advice from Ninomiya, a shrine keeper near the magical waterfall that had healed Izzy. Ninomiya helped Hachi realize that his connection with Izzy could be turned into something positive if they learned to empathize with each other. Following this realization, Hachi agreed to help Izzy find the Magatama, but only after Izzy promised not to harm any humans. The Magatama's owner, however, was a mystery. So, Hachi decided to reach out to his hacker friend for help. Hachi, along with Izzy, met up with his campus esports team, led by Masato. Hachi was about to ask his teammate Hikari, a hacking expert, to track down the owner of the Magatama, but first he had to get through a training session with the team. During the training, the server was suddenly hacked by an unknown intruder, forcing them to halt. Hikari immediately sprang into action, deciding to trace the hacker's location. Hachi, Izzy, and Yonagi joined her. The trace led them to the campus library, where Izzy ran into Arisa, who had warned Hachi about the exorcism ritual. To Hachi's surprise, Arisa was wearing a magic bracelet that could detect yokai, and it instantly reacted to Izzy, revealing her true nature. As Hikari continued her trace, the group followed the signal to the campus's underground tunnels. There, Izzy sensed a powerful dark presence. She urged Hikari and Yonagi to leave, but Hachi refused to go. With their lives now intertwined, he chose to stay by her side, no matter the danger. Not long after that, Izzy's heart raced when Kaki suddenly appeared, revealing that he had hacked Hachi's esports team server to lure her out. Hachi's eyes widened as he saw Koki, now a zombie, after vanishing from campus. It was too late to save him. With no choice, Izzy ended Koki's life to protect herself and Hachi. But then, Tenkai showed up. He revealed he was the one controlling Koki and wasted no time launching his attack on Izzy. However, when he learned that Izzy and Hachi's lives were intertwined, he shifted his focus, deciding that killing Hachi would ensure Izzy's death as well. Izzy used her skills to fend off Tenkai and protect Hachi. They barely escaped, and once safe, Izzy explained Tenkai's true identity to Hachi. In her original world, Tenkai had been a samurai serving the 5 clans that guarded the yokai seals, but he had become a zombie for breaking a sacred rule. Izzy realized that the 5 clans were now aware of their bond. This meant they would relentlessly pursue her and Hachi would be in danger too. Feeling guilty about putting Hachi in harm's way, Izzy was ready to shoulder the burden alone. But Hachi stepped in, reassuring her that he wouldn't let her face it by herself. He promised to find a way to help her locate the Magatama without causing more bloodshed. Sometime later, Renjo meets with his superior, only to find out she's one of the 5 Spears, the legendary guardian clans of the Yokai Seal. The 5 Spears are led by a powerful woman named Saori. It turns out Takeru is also part of this group. He doesn't want his son to carry the same burdens he did. In a shocking twist, Ninomiya, the temple guardian who once advised Hachi, is revealed to be a member of the Five Spears. They're all aware that Izzy's presence could be a huge problem, but the Five Spears stay focused on their centuries-old mission, turning yokai magic into a profitable business. Meanwhile, Detective Inukai is digging into Renjo's lawyer for blocking his investigation into Hayato's murder. During his search at Renjo's house, Inukai stumbles upon an underground tunnel. To his surprise, he finds the body of Kaki, who was turned into a zombie by Izzy. But things take a wild turn when Inukai discovers Tenkai, who quickly runs off to hide his identity. The next day, Inukai heads back to the tunnel where Koki's body was found. As he inspects the area, he spots something suspicious, a small object that belongs to Izzy, lying forgotten on the ground. He takes it and hands it over to Suzuki for further examination. Meanwhile, Yonagi is having a conversation with Arisa. It turns out Arisa is a senior at their school. In the middle of their chat, Yonagi accidentally spills the fact that Izzy killed Hayato. Arisa doesn't seem shocked though. She already knew Izzy was a yokai, a creature often seen as a monster that kills humans. To Yonagi's surprise, Arisa reveals that she is a witch, and because of that, she warns him not to report Izzy to the police. Yokai issues, she says, are something only witches can deal with. Over with Izzy, she's determined to free her kind from the dark world they're trapped in. The longer they stay there, the more they suffer. But Hachi steps in, trying to calm her down. He tells her he's already asked Hikari to help investigate the owner of the Magatama. To ease her worries, Hachi suggests Izzy take a break from her mission. Then, with a smile, he invites her to his father's birthday party. Not long after, Hachi and Izzy finally arrived at Inukai's birthday party, trying to blend in. To avoid suspicion, Izzy followed Hachi's advice to change into normal clothes and act like everyone else. But Hachi couldn't shake off his worry because Inukai's detective instincts were sharp. It was only a matter of time before his father figured out Izzy's secret. She had killed Hayato. The party carried on, with Yonagi and Arisa also present. In the restroom, Arisa and Izzy crossed paths. When Izzy saw Arisa's magical bracelet, she instantly recognized her as a witch. In a flash, Izzy teleported them to another location, threatening Arisa's life if she kept interfering. But Arisa stood her ground. She reminded Izzy of her true nature as a yokai, feared by humans. To stop her from spiraling, Arisa pointed out how her connection with Hachi was nothing but a curse, slowly destroying his life. Meanwhile, Yonagi found Hachi and told him about Izzy's threat to Arisa. He urged Hachi to see the danger of helping her. Despite the warning, Hachi couldn't walk away. He had grown emotionally attached to Izzy. Eventually, he allowed Yonagi to stop following him, choosing to protect his friend instead. Later, Izzy quietly slipped out of the party. Alone with her thoughts, she reflected on Arisa's words. She remembered her true yokai nature and how she could easily kill to get what she wanted. Shortly afterward, Izzy's phone buzzed with a message from Hachi. The owner of the Magatama was at a temple near the magical waterfall that had healed her wounds. Without Hachi by her side, Izzy rushed to the temple, eager to find the artifact. Inside, she met Ninomiya, a member of the 5 Spearhead clans who had once sealed the yokai in the world of darkness. He hid his true identity and evil intentions, offering to show Izzy the location of the Magatama. Meanwhile, Hachi was on his way to the temple, worried that Izzy might harm humans to get the Magatama. As Izzy entered the temple, Ninomiya tricked her. He used a magical tea that could paralyze yokai, restraining her. Holding the Magatama in his hand, he revealed his true identity as a descendant of the Yokai Seal Guardians. The radiance of the Magatama exposed Izzy's own yokai lineage. Ninomiya smirked, knowing he had the chance to obtain the Magatama and the head of a human descendant of the Seal Guardians. He planned to free the yokai. Seeing her chance, Izzy summoned all her strength, broke free and decapitated Ninomiya. As the magical tea's power wore off, Izzy launched herself into a brutal battle with him. But it was too late. Ninomiya's head hit the floor, and Izzy stood victorious. When Hachi arrived, he found Izzy standing over Ninomiya's lifeless body. The two clashed, arguing over their differing methods of achieving their goal. Hachi pleaded with Izzy not to kill, but Izzy remained firm. Her mission required killing, and she wouldn't compromise. In a moment of vulnerability, Hachi confessed that he had summoned Izzy to this world because of his loneliness. He now realized how foolish he had been, to hope she could change and stop killing. Izzy felt a pang of sadness, but her mission came first. She couldn't let emotions sway her. Without another word, Izzy used a sleep spell on Hachi, allowing her to take Ninomiya's head without interference. The next day, Detective Yokai received a shocking report. Kaki's body had vanished from the autopsy room. After reviewing the CCTV footage, Yokai quickly suspected Tenkai had taken it. He shifted his focus back to Renjo, convinced he was tied to the murders of both Hayato and Koki. Through his investigation, Yokai uncovered a lead that Renjo owned a secret company located near Ninomiya's temple. Yokai, with Suzuki at his side, headed to the temple. As they approached, they spotted Hachi's vehicle. Inside the temple, Yokai found Hachi, waking up next to Ninomiya's decapitated body. Panic struck Hachi as he realized Yokai had caught him. He feared his father would soon start questioning him. Yokai wasted no time and began interrogating Hachi. Suzuki pointed out that Ninomiya's body, headless like Hayato's, was too much of a coincidence. Yokai and Suzuki both suspected Hachi of the murders, but Hachi stayed silent. Not getting anywhere with direct questioning, Yokai softened his approach, trying to reach Hachi on a more personal level. Their strained relationship made things awkward, but slowly Yokai convinced Hachi to open up. Hachi told his story about Izzy, but Yokai wasn't buying it. He dismissed it as fantasy and told Hachi it wasn't helpful for the investigation. A few hours later, Hachi suddenly heard Izzy's voice in his head. Their bond had grown so strong that now, despite the tension between them, they could communicate telepathically. Izzy then used her teleportation ability to break Hachi out of the police station. Before she resumed hunting for the next descendant of the Seal Guardian, Hachi reached out to Yonagi about Izzy's situation. They both agreed that Izzy couldn't stay in the human world anymore. She had crossed a line, willing to kill humans for her own goals. Hachi made up his mind to meet with Yonagi and convince him to team up and stop Izzy. Meanwhile, Yonagi was with Hikari, accompanying Arisa to her family's mansion, a place known for housing magical tools used to exterminate yokai. As they arrived, Arisa explained that her family had been hunting yokai for generations and that the mansion was now cared for by her uncle Renjo. Arisa shared her painful past. Her parents were killed by yokai when she was young. Now her uncle was guarding the mansion's secrets. At Arisa's request, Yonagi and Hikari began searching for a special scroll that could sever the bond between Hachi and Izzy, sending her back to the dark world. On the other hand, Tenkai had successfully resurrected Koki as his zombie subordinate and brought him to his secret headquarters, where he introduced him to 7 other zombies. After learning about the bond between Hachi and Izzy, Tenkai decided to target Hachi. He knew killing Hachi would be the easiest way to take down Izzy. To get the job done, he ordered Koki to use his hacking skills to track Yonagi's location. Soon enough, Tenkai pinpointed Yonagi's whereabouts at Arisa's family mansion. The house's magical defenses were weak, making it easy for Tenkai and his zombies to break in. They launched a full assault on Arisa and her group, who were searching for an incantation scroll. But when Tenkai discovered that Arisa was wearing a magical bracelet identical to his, he called off the attack. At the same time, Hachi found Yonagi at the mansion, but Tenkai's army still surrounded it. Fortunately, Hachi managed to talk Tenkai out of killing him. He convinced Tenkai that if he killed Hachi, Izzy would transform into an unstoppable monster. Tenkai, unaware of Hachi's deception, decided to hold off on the attack. As things began to settle, Tenkai explained the significance of Arisa's magical bracelet, linking it to the 5 spearhead guardian clans. He revealed that the 5 spearheads had once defeated the yokai and sealed them away in the dark world. However, the yokai, still free, kept targeting members of the spearhead clans to break the seal. To protect the seal, the 5 clans split their powers into magical bracelets, passing them on to selected witches. Besides Tenkai, Arisa was one of the chosen. Tenkai then shared the shocking truth. Arisa's parents were killed by the yokai because her father had been a subordinate of the 5 spearheads. In disbelief, Arisa contacted Renjo to confirm the story. Renjo didn't deny it, confirming Tenkai's words and revealing that he had kept the truth about her bracelet secret to shield her from the yokai's threats. At the same time, Hachi quickly apologized to Yonagi for putting Izzy ahead of his friend. Soon after, Arisa found the incantation scroll that could sever the bond between Hachi and Izzy, sending Izzy back to the dark world. Despite his inner conflict, Hachi agreed with Arisa's plan and gave his consent to use the incantation. With a plan in mind, Hachi, Arisa, and Tenkai started figuring out how to capture Izzy. They knew they needed to protect Arisa, knowing Izzy would target her next. Meanwhile, Izzy was already on the move, using the Magatama to hunt down the descendants of the Seal Guardians. It didn't take long for Izzy to find the first descendant with shape-shifting abilities. But when the descendant transformed into a fish, he failed to make the most of his power, and Izzy made quick work of him, decapitating him easily. Izzy didn't stop there. He soon tracked down the fourth descendant, who had a powerful whip for yokai extermination. However, the descendant let his guard down, and in no time, Izzy took his head too. Now only one more human head with the power of a Seal Guardian was left to claim: Arisa's. The scene shifts to the past, where the samurai forces of the five spearheads are battling the Yokai nation, trying to seal them away in the dark world. Tenkai, the commander of the samurai, orders Izzy's family to surrender. But Izzy's mother refuses, choosing to fight back. In a brutal moment, Tenkai kills her right in front of Izzy. Back in the present, Detective Inukai still doesn't believe Hachi is responsible for the murders of Hayato and Ninomiya. He heads to Renjo's office to express his doubts. Although there's no solid proof, Inukai is convinced that Renjo is somehow connected to the murders. His name keeps popping up in the investigation, and that can't be a coincidence. Unaware of what's happening, Renjo goes about his business, while Suzuki seizes the chance to plant a GPS tracker on his clothing. Inukai plans to use it to track Renjo and, hopefully, find Hachi, who's still on the run. Meanwhile, Hachi and his team are preparing for their mission to drive Izzy into the dark world. They've picked the perfect spot for this, an esports championship venue where they'll trigger the expulsion spell against Izzy. Things take a dark turn when Tenkai shows up, sending his zombie minions to scare everyone off, and they take control of the venue. Shortly afterward, Izzy and the Magatama finally track down Arisa, her final target. To protect her, Tenkai commands his zombie army to attack. But Izzy makes quick work of them, leading to a showdown with Tenkai. Everything plays out as planned, luring Izzy into the trap where the spell activation awaits. The moment the spell hits, Izzy loses her power and is immobilized. Arisa prepares to recite the spell that will sever the bond between her and Hachi. But just as she's about to speak, Tenkai betrays her with a magic blast, stopping her in her tracks. Turns out Tenkai's betrayal was no surprise. He's been planning to kill Izzy all along to ensure she vanishes for good. Without hesitation, Tenkai stabs Izzy and orders his minions to eliminate Hachi, Yonagi, and Hikari. Just as Tenkai is about to finish her off, Koki, who had been fixated on Izzy, turns on him. With Koki's help, Izzy breaks free from the spell's influence and regains her strength. Now fully powered, Izzy takes advantage of the opening and strikes Tenkai down with a combination of sword blows and her teleportation ability. Despite her wound from Tenkai's sword, Izzy moves toward Arisa with the intent to finish her off. But before she can strike, Hachi steps in to protect her. His Magatama reacts, revealing a shocking truth that Hachi has the lineage of a Yokai Seal Guardian. He realizes this only now after a vivid childhood memory resurfaces and unlocks the mystery of his heritage. When Hachi was young, his grandmother took him to the magical waterfall near the temple. It was there that she used her blood for a ritual, confirming Hachi's bloodline as a descendant of the Seal Guardian. But what Hachi didn't know was that his grandmother was actually Saori, the head of the powerful Five Spearhead clan. After revealing this shocking truth, Hachi made a surprising decision. He allowed Izzy to behead him to free the yokai from the dark world. But he asked her one thing in return: to stop killing humans once the yokai were set free. Izzy was torn. She still loved Hachi, and the weight of his request pulled at her heart. As she struggled with her emotions, Arisa saw her chance. She quickly recited the final spell. The bond between Izzy and Hachi started to shatter, and Izzy's body began to disappear, as if she was fading back into the dark world. Just before vanishing completely, Izzy apologized to Hachi for everything she'd done. Her final words were a quiet regret before she was gone. With her disappearance, Tenkai's zombie forces finally retreated, giving Hachi and his friends a moment of peace. Their relief was short-lived. Renjo, who had witnessed the entire event, appeared with a single mission: to kill Hachi. He had two reasons. Hachi had violated his role as a seal guardian by summoning Izzy, and Renjo had his own hidden agenda to seize control of the five spearheads. Just as Renjo made his move, Inukai showed up, leading a tactical police team. They stopped Renjo's assassination attempt, saving Hachi from certain death. A month passed, and Hachi was settling back into a normal life with his family. At campus one day, he casually dropped a hint to his father, revealing that he was Saori's child, the head of the five spearheads. Meanwhile, Arisa stumbled upon Renjo's hidden video. In it, Renjo confessed that her parents weren't killed by yokai, as she'd been led to believe. Instead, he dropped a bombshell. Saori, the head of the five spearheads and Hachi's grandmother, was the one responsible for their deaths. Renjo, now behind bars for the murders of Hayato and Ninomiya, had a secret meeting with Saori. She used her sleep magic to subdue the guards, keeping their conversation under wraps. It was then revealed that Renjo had used Koki to search for a forbidden book with Izzy's summoning spell. Before Koki was killed by Tenkai, he managed to upload a picture of the spell, which eventually led to Hachi using it. The arrival of Izzy had actually been part of Renjo's plot to seize control of the five spearheads. As punishment for his betrayal, Saori stripped Renjo of all his memories related to the five spearheads. Later, Saori's guards informed her that Izzy's presence still lingered in the human world. Realizing that the bond between Hachi and Izzy hadn't been completely severed, Saori knew the connection remained. Hachi, on the other hand, still felt a deep unease after losing Izzy. But with each passing day, he grew stronger and more determined, thanks to the bond they shared. With the Magatama still in his possession, Hachi was resolved to find Izzy no matter where she was. And somewhere out there, Izzy was alive, still connected to him. And so, the story came to a close. Moral lesson from the story: don't trust a zombie hacker, especially if they're after your secret bracelet, because you might end up teleporting in a sword fight. And if your teammate turns into a yokai, remember, friendship is complicated when your lives are magically linked.